Hello. Do you guys want like 2 walking talks in one day? Do you want me to tell you guys like a truth? Can I let you guys in on a secret? I lied. I lied, guys. I lied, and I feel guilty, so I have to come forward and come clean. I titled my last live Wednesday Walk and Talk, and I recorded it yesterday. I know there's a special place in hell for me, I know, but I'm taking accountability for it, and hopefully you guys can forgive me. So, new day right here. I just didn't think it really mattered, and I was like, what am I gonna call this? Like, Wednesday Walk and Talk, sure. I'm sure you guys have figured out by now I kind of walk here daily. So, yes. I actually walk in a couple different cemeteries, but like, they're pretty close proximity. It's huge. I mean, there's like hiking trails and crap too, like way down there. And honestly, yeah, as it gets colder, I'll probably start going down there, because during the summertime, oh, look at how gorgeous that is. I feel like pictures never, ever, ever do this justice. Ever. Actually, if you guys want to know a really sad story about the grave right here, and he's buried here, it's really, really sad. I actually knew one of these people. Let's see. This one here. But yeah, accidental overdose. So really young. Very sad. But I always walk by there. I always like to pay my respects. I mean, I know, it's crazy, guys. Let's not go down that road, though, because that's not even where, we don't need to go down there, but yeah, that's somebody, yeah. But I do like, though, that they put like a little fountain there, and every time I come back, they've put something a little bit new there that kind of stirs it up, which is neat. I think they had like a bird bath. So you guys, I told you there was planes. There are always planes, and they always, actually, they're flying both ways, so I don't even know. Not that you guys care. But I wanted to come back on because I'm not done talking. And I do want to start to come on more often. I think for me, it's getting like some of the logistical and like operational sides of running a YouTube channel down, because it can get complicated, and you know, everybody's got their own life and schedules and having mods and stuff like that, because a lot of the time, and I probably should do it more. I used to do it back before I was like screen sharing stuff, when I would just talk when I started out, but while I'm screen sharing, I don't look at the chat, so I don't, it's always like, I never want my chat to, you know, get out of hand. I don't want anybody to feel like attacked in there or uncomfortable. Like, I know that I've had people in the past that have said that they're uncomfortable with certain people that are in there, but like, what I've had to say to those people is that, you know, there's a block button. Like, I don't know everybody's history, and you know, I feel bad. Genuinely I do. Like, I'm like, that's the last thing I want to hear, is that somebody in my chat makes you uncomfortable. But you know, that person, like I mentioned in my last video, like, my experience with that person hasn't been negative. So I mean, I don't want to not welcome them. You know what I mean? So it's a slippery slope, but it can get complicated. But you know, what I've always said is, if you must, there's a block button. If that person comes in under an alt and continues to harass you, which I've had happen to one person, one instance of a live where there was this person who really disliked the particular creator in my chat, and kept coming in under alts, and no matter how many times they blocked. And every time she blocked this person, and I was like, I don't even, you know, I felt bad, because it's like, I blocked him as fast as I could, and this person was saying some really terrible stuff, so, but that was like literally the only time that's ever happened that I know of, but my mods usually tell me what's going on, because my mods and I are friends, and we talk every single day, and I appreciate them so much, so much. Yeah, you know, I don't know. For those of you who don't know, I mean, I'm sure some of you are familiar with my mods, because I'm sure, I know some of you have feelings about one or the other, or both, or whatever, and you know, I validate that. You know, if you have feelings about that, and you know, if you've had an issue, or you don't, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's something you got to take up with them. And like, I don't know Michelle in real life, but we do talk every day, and I know for a fact that they're not Jelly Bear. But you know, shh, don't tell anybody. I don't even know where that came from. Where did that even come from? Why was that even a thing? All I know is that, like, I was watching it live and it was said, and I was just like dumbfounded. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was so confused because Jelly Bear, like, I don't think I've had a bad experience with Jelly Bear, really. I don't think no, because I would remember if she had said something that was like completely out of line. She has not. She has called me out though, you know, because she supports Natasha, so she certainly has been in my comment section before. But yeah, definitely a very different person. Very different person. But that's fine. I don't even know where that came from. So please don't come for me with that. I mean, I just happen to know that they're different people, and I was like, why is this even being said? So I did that community post to correct it. Because I was like, you know, I don't even know if it matters. I mean, but I don't know. I know people don't really like to be accused of being people that they're not. I know I probably wouldn't like it. Especially when it's like something that's like polarized opposites. I mean, then again, I don't look at Natasha's chat, so if either of my mods are in there, I wouldn't know. So like, I'll pop into Natasha's just to hear what she's saying, so I can be like, you know, up to date with what her latest grift of the week is. What is it, grift du jour? Is that the right word? I think that is. If I said that wrong, I apologize. Du jour, yeah, du jour of the day, like soup of the day. Yeah, I think so. But I don't usually click on the chat, so I wouldn't know. So maybe, I'm just saying, like, you know, somebody who's my mod, generally, you know, if it turned out that they were like one of, you know, Natasha's like loyal people, then yeah, that would be a whole kerfluffle. But that's not the case, so we don't need to even discuss that. But like I said, I mean, a lot of Natasha's people, it's been like this revolving door, because she'll burn people out, and a lot of them have come over to this side. And I used to be over there. Like, I wasn't like a big deal over there. I mean, I want to make that clear. I'm a name she would know. That is for certain. I know she would know who I am. I was up on her panel a handful of times, mostly to like talk about the Petito case and stuff. But like, yeah. So, you know, that was really my first YouTube. No, not kind of really. It was quite literally my first YouTube community. And that's where I first started, you know, going in a chat every day and getting to know people and talking to people. And I really enjoyed that part of it until I started until like the grifting got turned up to an 11, and I had no idea about her past. Like, I had heard of her, I had clicked on her video before, didn't really care for her, didn't really watch her, wasn't my style, just didn't really find her that engaging. And I don't know why that changed with the Petito case. I don't know why her Watts coverage was unappealing to me, but her Petito coverage like kind of drew me in. And the one thing I'm thinking maybe was the difference was the community aspect. Maybe that's what the difference was that I felt part of a community. But there's been a lot of people that I've secretly like been waiting to come over here because I miss them. Some of them talk to me privately. A lot of them don't anymore, but some of them do. And a lot of them don't like what I have to say, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree. You know, I have a lot to say about it. I feel like I have like I feel like I take like a different sort of approach to like, you know, the whole Natasha thing. Like, I started off just doing clip videos, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm like, no. Like, there's a lot of people that do clip channels that, you know, do it much better than I do. And I just don't have the time to do that. So I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do something different. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll put together these clip videos and then I'll do commentary. And I feel like I can take like a different approach to looking at things just because of my background, and you know, with marketing and business and stuff like that. And also, I mean, by default, I mean, I obviously would never say I'm an expert. I know a lot of people on here like to be experts by proxy. But yeah, I mean, you know, I grew up around my dad. A lot of you do know who my dad is. A lot of you know his career and what he is known for. He is a public figure. I've been open about that. I've had to take those videos down because of, you know, him not wanting anything to do with the stuff that's that's happened. So I took those down. I don't want to, you know, I probably shouldn't have even brought him on because, you know, obviously as a public figure, he goes by his full name. He's not going to go by anything else. Like, that's everything he does is his first and last name. And, you know, because of his career in the criminal justice and social work and ethics and psychology and stuff. And this is my adoptive dad. I know I've mentioned I was adopted, so I do have two sets of parents. But I grew up, my adoptive parents raised me. So, yeah, some people had asked. But I do have a relationship with my biological parents. I've always had a relationship with my biological mom, always. And as for my biological dad, I met him when I was an adult, but he wasn't in a place where I would have been able to meet him prior to that. That's really all I'm going to say about it, just because it's his business. And he's a good guy. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But, you know, people make mistakes, myself included. So we can't hold that over people's heads forever. Now, I mean, if they make big mistakes and then continue to make those mistakes or continue to engage in, you know, criminal behavior consistently, you know, then we can, you know, judge, I think. But people who really try to turn their lives around have every bit of respect for me. That's just the way it is. You know, it's not easy. As somebody who has struggled with things that I've certainly had to turn my life around, I can tell you right now, some of the strongest people on this planet are people that have had to fight those battles. Yeah. So, it's not easy. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't make it. A lot of people can't get out of it. And it sucks, you know, because I really don't know why some people make it and some don't. I really don't know why, but it's just the really scary reality of it. And I'm very grateful every day that I'm still here. I am grateful every day that I am still alive and on this planet. Because, you know, as family members of mine would tell you, you know, it was definitely touch and go for quite some time, you know, and that's terrifying for a parent. And I never, ever want to put my loved ones through that again. Never. So I know we're kind of going into a different topic, and I'm sorry if this is like triggering to some people, but I don't think I've ever like publicly come on here and told my whole story, but I've certainly done some. When I first came on here, really one of the reasons I did a show, like I said, I had no idea what kind of channel I wanted to do. There was a time where what I really wanted to do was jump on the hashtag, oh god, oh my god, why can't I think of this? Okay, well, my brain just went blank, but basically what I'm saying is the movement that Paris Hilton started about calling out these troubled teen industry, which I was unfortunately a part of. I was at 3 different programs. 2 of them, one of them in particular is like famous for the abuse. Yeah, and they've gotten shut down in some of their locations, but it's really a cult mentality. So like they pop up. It's bad. Now they're preying on inner city kids, and that's you know, if you've listened to my lives about that and you know what I went through, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. This guy is, that's kind of neat. Look at that. It's like one sole red bit so far. But yeah, so, but I've been open about that and what I've been through with the wilderness program, and then the boarding schools I went to. The one I went to last was actually a great experience and a great place and an example of this kind of thing done right. But that was just my junior and senior year. So, but you know, I have been open about my struggles, which is why I always found it weird when, you know, Dorothy decided to do what she did, which was basically, if my understanding is correct, which I think it is because I've listened to the clips. I mean, if there's more detail to it, hell if I know. But I had opened up to her about my struggles because she had been open about hers, and I felt comfortable reaching out and talking about it, which I really didn't tell even the people I was closest with on here because, you know, I mean, you know, there's a lot of shame involved in that, and I know a lot of people get that. Like, that's really, I know some people are brave and they're like, I am who I am and this is part of me and I'm going to share it. I'm not one of those people, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Especially on the internet, like, I think it horrifies my parents that I have mentioned that at all on here. But that's just how I was raised. So I'm just trying to give you guys context into my behavior that some people may find fake, I guess is a word I've heard. Really, that's not anything of the sort. But anyways, Dorothy, I mean, like I said, I will never, ever show private correspondences with anybody again, unless I absolutely feel that it is in there, that it is something I need to do. You know, whether it's for the safety of somebody else or I don't foresee that, but like, I mean, or you know, or if I absolutely have to clear my own name for something that I didn't do, if it's a serious enough allegation, because I mean, we see what goes on here. I mean, I suppose that could play a part, but otherwise, I'd say 99.9% of things, not gonna make me do it again. I made that mistake once. I've owned it. Not gonna do it again. And not because, like, that's not what I want to be known for. I know that I wouldn't like it if it was done to me, even though I know it has been because I've seen the screenshots. Just saying. But I know people talk shit. I'm not gonna like hold it over. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, this person's terrible because they talk shit about me. I mean, I talk shit about people. I absolutely do. I think we all do. But the difference is, though, is that, you know, if you're just venting to somebody you think is a friend in private, and then they bring that public, that's when it becomes an issue. And I know it wouldn't feel good to me, so in turn, I should not have done that to somebody else. Whether I like that person or not, because I certainly don't like that person at all. Never will. Ever, ever, ever. Nope. Hard pass. But, you know, that's just me. But I don't go after them either, so, like, you know, nothing wrong with me having an opinion. But yeah, so Dorothy, you know, but you know, sometimes I do wish I could show those, because if you could see, like, you know, she was genuinely, like, really kind about it. Like, you know, I just don't know what happened. You know, for one day, you know, I have screenshots of her in my chats, which I am comfortable sharing because that's on a public chat, so that's different, where she's saying that I'm so talented and that I have great public speaking abilities and that I'm engaging and I'm going places, and yet most recently it's been the opposite, that I'm a loser and I'm boring and I suck. So which is it? You know, which one of that was a lie? Because I mean, I'm cool with either way. Either way, it's a lie or a contradiction. But you know, I'm not on here to comment Dorothy. Like, that was a long time ago. I've gotten cooled off about it. I really don't want to go at Dorothy right now. You know, that's not to say if she decides to open her mouth and lie again, then we'll, you know, take that. But I'm just using this as an example because it's pertinent to what I'm talking about. You know, but she was supportive of it. And I mean, she even said that I'm like a real genuine person. And like, you know, then to hear her say otherwise is like, okay, like, right. So, but anyways, so I had opened up to her about that. And then one day she just came on and she, you know, at that point in time, I hadn't spoken to either of the people I had never spoken to Kim privately. Never. At that point. Never. And I hadn't spoken to Granny's Watching at that point since December. So I don't know where there was any sort of indication that I was, well, I know what it was. I think what it was that I told her I wasn't comfortable with how she was handling some situations back then. And I did call her out on it, and even though I didn't do it in like she didn't like that. I mean, okay. But like, just say it how it is. Like, if that was what it was, then that's what it was. But like, there's no evidence anywhere of me sneaking around and trying to get information out of you for Granny's Watching or Kim or anybody. That just didn't happen, you know? And if anything, I mean, with those conversations, did I, like, sometimes, I mean, I try to make a conscious effort to be other directed, because it's something that sometimes I can easily overlook. But I mean, I always try to ask people how they are. I always try to ask people, you know, what's going on in your life. And it's a conscious effort, because unconsciously, I oftentimes, like, I have ADHD, so like, I'll interrupt or I'll talk over people or whatever. And I don't like that I do that, because I don't mean to. Because it's not that I don't care, it's that sometimes I just get very carried away and run my mouth. So, but yeah, I mean, I think in that situation was the first time I had spoken about my struggles. Literally the first time. I hadn't spoken to my moms about it and talked to anybody about it, but I had done these lives telling about my struggles as a teenager, of which, you know, substance abuse was a big part of. So it's not like I hadn't talked about it, but like, I didn't have an audience back then, so like, nobody had seen it. And it wasn't like the main gist of it. I know I mentioned it. I don't actually, you know what, I actually don't even know. I actually re-listened to it. I never said that directly. I think I just said a lot of struggles, and I hinted at it a lot. Because I wanted to say that I, you know, understood, but I mean, I'm sorry, that's not true. I told one other person privately. One other person. And they never did anything with that information. They were respectful with it. So, I mean, I often forget that even was a thing. So, Dorothy was not the first. Dorothy was the second. But the point is that it wasn't public. But I have been open about my struggles and stuff. So when I heard that she's saying I'm like making this up, like that I'm making up such a traumatic part of my life for like to get information out of her, it sounded crazy. And that's kind of what sparked all of that. Because I really wasn't going to bring that onto YouTube. And I don't see why that's something that I should. You know what I mean? Like, does that really make a difference? Because at that point, I didn't know if I wanted to do that. Oh yeah, it's like hashtag breaking code silence. That's what it was. You know, I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do. And like, you know, I wasn't going to do it. Or whatever. And like I said, I was raised to put a professional self forward. To, when on the internet, only present yourself in your best light. Which is not like what people do anymore. I mean, I think it's a very generational mindset, and I understand it, and that's just kind of how I was raised. But at the same time, I've always been comfortable sharing. I'm an open book. I share everything. I overshare to my own detriment. I really do need to stop doing that, because there are people on here that have exploited that. And you know, there are people on here who see YouTube as like a game, and they'll get personal information on you so they can hold it over your head. And it's just, I've seen it time and time again with other people, and we've seen Natasha do it. So, you know, there's always that. But at this point, it's like, whatever, like, take your best shot. I just don't care. You know, whatever you say about me, you know, if it sounds particularly shocking, you know, I'll own it. If it's true, it's true. But a lot of the times these things get twisted, and like, well, there might be like a grain of truth. It's not the entire truth. It's not. It's been twisted, and that's unfortunate. Because I really don't think like stuff like that should be held against anybody on here. I do have a problem with that. I don't care if somebody has a criminal record. I don't, but I don't care if somebody does, because the fact that I don't is just, I mean, some people just get lucky, I guess. Doesn't mean I haven't broken the law. I mean, I think a lot of us have, broken the law at times and just don't get caught. Even if it's for stupid stuff, right? Like I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. Got a lot of parking tickets, but never gotten a speeding ticket. So there's that. So yeah, we've all done stuff we shouldn't have. But so I don't judge people for stuff like that. Who am I to judge? As long as your behavior dictates otherwise, who am I to judge? If somebody says they struggle with substance abuse or mental illness, who am I to judge? Or else you're acting inappropriately, then I would, I don't like people that use that as a shield. I don't like people saying, you can't, I can do whatever I want to you, but you can't respond because I'm mentally ill. I don't like that. I think that's ridiculous. I struggle with mental illness, and I would never use that as a shield if I'm acting shitty. If I'm being an asshole on the internet, I deserve what I get. I mean, that's just as simple as that. And some people do take it too far, and nobody deserves when it's taken to that extreme. But I can't, turn around and act surprised when I get called out. And be like, I don't know why these people are doing this to me. I've never done anything. Really? Really though? Okay. But there are people on here that I guess just like to be victims and make stuff up all the time. People I've never even spoken to or about. All of a sudden I'm hearing all sorts of things that I've supposedly done. And I'm just like, where? Where? If I'm doing all of these things, certainly there must be receipts for it, correct? I mean, I'm not, or else I'm just some sort of digital mastermind. I don't know how to do anything. I don't even think you can. But if there's no evidence of it, then maybe people should start thinking, but perhaps that didn't happen. I think people are very quick to judge on here too, and people need to. I mean, I've always said this, and I mean it. There are some people that I just don't like, and I'm never going to like them. I have no desire to make peace with them. I have no desire to have any sort of conversations with them. But most of those people are people I don't talk about anyway, so it doesn't matter. It really just, it doesn't affect anybody either way. It's just my personal preference. You won't find me anywhere that they are. You won't find me in any chats that they go to. You won't find me in any chats that they're up on panel. That's just a personal preference. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not on here dragging them. In fact, I don't even mention who they are. Most people know, but I tend to deal with things privately when I can. And this was one of those things. And this is one of the first things I ever had to deal with on YouTube. So, this has been almost a long time ago. But that's the thing. People really when you check your email, a lot of the time, not only are you sent hate stuff a lot, but I mean, like people have heard, you do get sent information sometimes, and I do believe some of that is used or meant to be used as I don't know. I really don't know. I think sometimes some subscribers send it with good intentions. I don't think that's always the case though. I do think that sometimes things get sent to people kind of to set them up. I really can't think of any examples. It's just kind of a gut feeling. I don't know if that's been done. I'm sure it has been done. I know it's been done in other communities. That's really where I'm getting that from. But the other part of it is a lot of people will, whether it's under, a lot of it isn't though. I mean, a lot of people will tell you exactly who they are. If they're mad at somebody, right? let's say they suddenly have an issue with somebody, they will send you all of their personal correspondences with that person that or pertains to me. So I've gotten quite a few of those. And sometimes, you know, it's shocking to me and it's hurtful, but like, you know, I don't, whatever, I talk shit too. Some of this stuff, I'm like, really? I didn't know you felt that way. How interesting. But then, you know, other parts of it, I'm just like, whatever, you know, it's just normal shit talk, so I don't really talk about it. But this is the stuff that creators open up every single day. So I just want people to keep that in mind. You know, when somebody comes on and is having a bad day, it can be a lot. And depending on what you're sent, you know, it can be kind of shocking when, you know, somebody you think is a friend, turns out they've been saying some baffling and just really cruel things about you during a point where, like, you thought you guys were cool, right? You know, it sucks. And that's certainly what happened way back then. But I've never brought it up. You know, I wish that person the best. But it's stuff like that. And I get it from other people. It's like, but a lot of it, it's like, yeah, I already knew that person didn't like me. Like, and I also, though, like, honestly, I'm encouraging people, please don't send me that. Like, I don't want to see your personal correspondences, or else it's something that I need to know, like, definitively need to know. Like, is it something to do with me and my family's safety? Which somebody did send me something along those lines once, and I was grateful for that, because it helped me figure out who was doing something that was really not okay. I don't want to talk about that again, but there was that. And it was just the information that was pertinent to that particular thing. So it wasn't like, you know, pages of it. But people they do that. So I always like want to urge people, like, you know, subscribers, like, just be very careful. You know, YouTube does say that you should be careful with your identity, and that could not be further from the truth. Don't let people like Natasha Cooper get in your head and make you feel like you're less genuine because you don't go on camera or because you don't go under your real name. She's just mad and salty at herself that she did. That's really it. She can say that she's proud of it all she wants, but no. She's kicking herself in the ass for doing it in the first place. So she's going to bring everybody who's smart about it down. So don't ever let people like that get in your head. Be very, very wary. Very wary. And that's like my biggest advice to new creators, honest to God. Like, I mean, we saw what happened with me back like months and months ago. We all saw it. You know, you'll have those people that'll try to get their hooks in you, or try to puppeteer you, or if they think that, you know, you'll do what they want. It's crazy. It's like a weird social experiment. It's really something else. So that is my advice. But with subscribers, don't use your first name or last name. Don't give identifying information. If you are corresponding with somebody privately, and I don't care who it's with, I really just don't. You might think that they are the best person in the world. It might even be somebody like myself, who, like, you know, I'm not vindictive like that. I think people know that. Just guard your information. Don't share anything that you wouldn't want seen anywhere else, because if you guys knew the stuff that I get in my inbox, like, you know, and it's not like I said, it's a lot of it's really stupid stuff. And whatever. A lot of it isn't even like with receipts. A lot of it is just people that come to you privately and they're like, hey, you know, I just want you to know that I talk privately with this person, and they talk a lot of shit about you. Most people are reasonable enough that they're not going to send you people's personal correspondences. But the funny part is that what some people like to do is they like to omit their own part in those conversations. Like, they'll delete it. So sometimes the conversations don't look like they make much sense. I'm like, just put it in there. Like, if you don't like me, just tell me. Like, that's fine. If you said something mean about me and we talk about it, I'm not gonna hold it over your head. I get over things with proper, like, if you handle it well. I will certainly be like, okay, cool, like, you're entitled to your opinions. I'm not gonna like make a big deal about it, but just be real. Just be real. So, you know, I feel like it's, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Somebody's always gonna find something, and it's always, no matter what community you go to, it does not matter. It's like the first thing people jump to is the fake and jealous and flip-flopper and whatever. And you know, in my experience, it's the people that yell about that the very most, or the people that, you know, are really just mad at themselves because they are the ones who do it. Because I'd be interested to know, like, you know, at what point I've done that. Just curious. And there's a difference. Like, flip-flopping doesn't mean changing your opinion on somebody based on things that have happened to you. You know, if that was the case, then imagine that in your real life. Imagine having somebody who's really thrown you under the bus and put you through the ringer and turned out to not be the person you thought they were. And imagine being told that you had to stay loyal to that person. Like, no. No, sometimes you need to get away from people like that. Yet, you know, you'll see people like Natasha who will call you out for it. When people, you know, see her for who she is, and she'll be like, well, now, you know, well, I support them getting away from you. If you're behaving like that, why should somebody have to stick around and be, you know, not be treated well? Especially when it's somebody that you don't even like. Like, if you don't like me, why does it matter to you? It just makes no sense. If you don't like me, it really shouldn't matter to you what I, you know? You know, somebody who wants you around doesn't treat you like absolute garbage. You know, when you treat people like that, you're really, what you're doing is you're communicating to the other person that they don't care about you. They do not want to be your friend. They think you're annoying. They want you to go away. But then when you do go away, then it's like a whole thing. It's so weird. It's like this toxic cycle. And Natasha's like the queen of it. But yeah, it's like the stuff, the rules that apply in, you know, the real world, it's not the same here on YouTube. It's frustrating a lot of the times, like, you know, you shut down thinking it's so unfair, but sometimes you just have to take it with a grain of salt. And I think I said this back in like maybe April or May, and it's like, you know, after what happened with Dorothy, it's like, you know, you have to go into these YouTube friendships within the back of your head knowing that that person very likely will throw you under the bus or betray you to save their own skin, or to somehow advance their own circumstances. That's just how this works. And, you know, people are like, well, that sounds hot, man. It's just, it's the truth. It's the truth. And yeah, unfortunately for me, like I said, I'm a big heart. I'm very trusting. I like to make connections with people. They're important to me. And, you know, I can get burned, but I will dive right back in to pouring my heart out to somebody who just ends up doing it to me again and again and again. And this is in my real life too. It's like, it's a problem. But, you know, I've recognized it, and recognizing it is the first step into doing something about it. Because I deserve better. You know, I deserve people that actually like me. I deserve people that actually want to be my friend, who it's a two-way street where, you know, I go hard for them and they do for me as well. You know, that's what a real friendship is. And I deserve it. And I need to remind myself of that more than I do. I really shouldn't settle for people who really, I mean, I think couldn't be any clearer that they don't, you know, they're not, it's very one-sided then. You know, they don't actually like you in the first place. I mean, so I need to remind myself of that. So if I start to fall into that again, you know, like, I'm gonna get one of those rubber bands and I'll just like slap myself with it every time. Because I never seem to learn. And this is something I've dealt with it like my whole life, really. Like, that's just, it's just, like, I think it's like maybe my adoption issues. I really don't know. I was also bullied pretty badly when I was a kid, like really badly. Like I had to switch schools. So, not because I wanted to, because my parents were like, enough is enough. Like, this can't continue. So that is how I, you know, I have PTSD from it, like, diagnosed on paper, like, from what I was put through. And then, you know, as my life progressed, I just added on top of that. But a lot of stuff triggered that in me. And, yeah. But, you know, like I said, I've worked on myself real hard for the past, like, five or so years. And that's one of the things I have to work on. But, you know, like I said, the one thing people can never say about me is that I'm a bad friend. No one can say that. I am a very dedicated and loyal friend to the people that I think deserve it. I think the point I was trying to make recently that got twisted as well was that a lot of the time in my personal life and otherwise, I do it for people that don't even like me in the first place. But you know, the difference is that in my real life, it's not really like for nefarious purposes, and it doesn't happen that often, like, anymore. I'm talking about more like high school and stuff, but like, you know, on YouTube though, it is for nefarious purposes. Like, you know, in real life, it's just these people just don't like you. They're what, you know, you're not my kind of people, like, you know. But on here, it's like, no. Instead of like me misreading something, you know, thinking that somebody, I don't know, hoping that if I'm nice enough to somebody, that they'll be my friend or whatever, which is how I kind of went about it in school, like back in middle school and such. I was pretty popular in high school. I never had issues in high school. So it was mostly elementary school and middle. But then again, I was kind of like the ugly duckling that like blossomed into a swan. And by swan, I mean like a really ugly swan, like bottom of the barrel swan. Because I actually I've had like 2 periods in my life where I think that I've like been the best, like that I've ever, you know, but it's not, it's neither here nor there. But here on YouTube, there are people that'll pretend, you know, they'll give you that attention. They'll be like, oh yeah, hey, I want to be your friend. And they'll pretend, and they're very good at pretending. And people like me fall into those traps. And it sucks. It sucks because it hurts. You know, some people genuinely don't care. Some people are able to just like, you know, walk that kind of thing off. But I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. Not usually, especially with somebody that I have built like a connection with. It's hard for it, sucks. But